Hello again, this is Paige, and I am back to share some more of things I've written back in 2018 when I was going through quite an intense spiritual awakening and transformation. And I had documented and written and channeled a lot back then over the years. And I've gone back to some of the journals and notebooks of the writings that I received and that had helped me during that time, because there is a mass awakening happening on this planet right now. The year 2025 is proving so far to be quite the eruptive disruptor of the so-called, well, the old paradigm, the Pisces age, and what was once the norm. So I'm going to share with you something that I wrote about consciousness, and I hope that this video finds you and it is helpful for you as you're going through your own transformation or revisiting, because we're always leveling up, waking up, remembering, and life is certainly showing us our patterns and our unconscious states of being, and asking us to let go again a little bit more. So here I wrote in May, what does it mean to become conscious? A lot of people think that becoming conscious is becoming conscious to certain spiritual concepts, such as we're all one, all is connected. These are true statements. However, that's not what we're here to become conscious of. What we're here to become conscious of is the very thing that unconsciousness is designed to avoid at every turn. If you don't know what unconsciousness is running away from, you then become, or if you know what consciousness is running away from, which it would be our shadow or our patterns, you then become more conscious. What is unconsciousness avoiding? It is avoiding change, avoiding to change. This is the ego as well. When you become conscious, you become aware of the changes that are necessary to be made in order for you to become the most mature, whole, authentic version of yourself. This can become very mesmerizing because the ego likes to embrace choices based on the idea of, if I change, I'm going to get more of what I want. What scares the ego to death is the news briefing that says you have to change with no guarantee that it's going to give you what you're hoping for. And the ego says, I don't know if I like that, if I'm going to buy that. But the good news is the ego doesn't have to. Whether at the aftermath of tragedy or at the brink of despair, and it seems your life circumstances have been flipped upside down over the years, or suddenly, it will inspire a level of adversity that's simply life's invitation to say, now it's time to change for the better. And I feel like we all go through these stages, but the stage I'm talking about is quite abrupt and intense. So know that you're not alone. There are many of us here to support you through this. It is scary to the ego, but a lot of times we don't have a choice. When we are in alignment with the maturity of awakened consciousness, we are changing not because it's going to give us what we want. We're changing because the ultimate thrill ride in a human body is to experience your consciousness in a body of senses at its highest level of maturity, which creates an experience called bliss. It is quite addictive. It is what the seeker is after. We all want bliss. Are we all willing to take the journey that gets us there? It's a one-sided transaction that requires you to change without promising to give you what you want. That's what unconsciousness is fighting. It will only change if it's guaranteed what it wants, such as a soulmate or more money, all of these genie in a bottle wishes that we can have dangle before our eyes, especially throughout certain spiritual community. And I'm not knocking anything, but the manifestation, you can have anything you desire. It takes a lot to get there. It truly does. It takes a lot of undoing to actually get to what the ego desires. And when you get it, you find that your sense of fulfillment does not last very long, because that is not what true consciousness is seeking. So during my spiritual awakening, I had intense experiences of various spirits as well as source energy, and these beams of light coming from the sky that really captivated me. This light and not only captivated my mind and my vision, but I felt it in the heart. It was unconditional love. It is. I still have these experiences. This light of unconditional love that's so powerful, it took my breath away and still does. Instantaneously, when I discovered the reality of this source, I handed my entire life over to it. No questions asked. I had no clue what I was doing, what I was getting myself in for, what ride I was getting myself in for. It just felt right. Each and every one of us will have this impulse inside of us. When we experience this hand of God or the hand of light reach out to us during moments of despair, and this light is saying, I am not ruining your life. I am cracking you open to bring you out of your hiding spot so that you no longer find comfort in playing small. That's exactly what I was told. What if I stopped trying to hold all of the pieces of my life together that are trying to fall away? What if I realized that holding all of those pieces together is taking so much of my energy and trying to hold together everything with the fear of, if I don't hold it all together, it will all fall apart. And that's part of the journey. That's definitely where I've been. What if I realize that if I need to work so hard to hold it all together, then it's not meant to be for me? What if I just let go and see what happens? What if I step into the unknown? What if I become the one who changes and not hold my breath waiting for others to change? Transform by loving yourself, not micromanaging yourself. Life is hard enough. Life is uncertain enough. We're on the highest spiritual journey known to mankind right now, and we've been brought here to complete that with little to no instructions. That's hard enough. At least an IKEA table comes with instructions. The instructions on the spiritual journey are only the little breadcrumbs you get by living it on an as-needed basis. You're only given what you need to know, the moment you need to know it. The ego, the pattern of repetitive questions in the brain, are either about something that isn't happening right now, or they're not relevant to what you need to know right now. The ego says you can't feel safe or relax until you know this. The truth is, most of us have questions on things that we don't need to know right now. If you have a question, this confirms that it is something that you don't need to know right now. And it gets harder as we find the programming in the matrix, or just the experience of life here in 2025 as having everything that we need at our fingertips, instant gratification, right? That becomes very addictive, but the universe is trying to train us otherwise to our true nature and to trust. Curiosity that is not tamed and surrendered is an energy that pulls you out of yourself, telling yourself that you need to know. Most of the things I ask have nothing to do with the moment that I'm in. You are clarity as your true nature deep within yourself. You get mesmerized by questions that perceive a level of deficiency. This is what we wake up out of, the belief of deficiency, and realize that your perception of worthiness and abundance is the after effect of how willing you are to change. It is that theory of we've got to literally walk out the door to the past and close it shut before the next new door opens. That is a scary thing for the ego. That is feeling out of control. Accepting yourself as is, thinking you don't have to change, is horrifying. Real acceptance knows when to change. Change doesn't mean to judge yourself as failure or doing something wrong. It's just a very simple thing. When the crap hits the fan, that's life's way of telling you now it's time to change for the better. Unconsciousness, or the conditioned mind, the ego, are the parts of you that cannot survive outside of the energy of your immature impulses. That's all that darkness is, the gravity of our immature behavior. The more often we keep choosing it, the more powerful it seems to be. The awakening of consciousness is handing over your will to your highest maturity, knowing there is no way you will ever find true happiness by avoiding maturity waking up inside of you. In the beginning, it will seem unfair, not fun. Why me? Waking up out of the impulsive ego, a lot of the parts that refuse to change will arise, showing us our immature patterns of instant gratification. When we're working on ourselves, what we're really doing is becoming more aware of all the forces within us that motivate us to act immaturely, to think immaturely, speak immaturely, respond to others immaturely. Becoming aware of how often our inner child or adolescent takes the wheel of our adulthood. When working on ourselves, we identify and loosen our grip on the limiting beliefs that keep us believing that our deepest sense of nourishment comes from instant gratification. We find, contrary to a world steeped in a belief of deficiency and always looking for instant gratification, we find when we wake up, we find the more often we nourish ourselves with instant gratification, the more deficient we feel. The more we learn to go without the impulses of instant gratification, the more abundant and sufficient we feel. The more harmony we feel. We end up getting a lot more out of a lot less. This is completely contradictory to the story that society is telling us, which is not the truth. It's just the truth of society's marketing campaign. We see it all the time. Limited time offer, saying you want to feel better? Snickers satisfies. You get the drift. We are waking up to our most immature impulses and the parts of us that are capable of doing great harm to ourselves and others is perpetrated by the constant pattern of feeling deficiencies with instant gratification. As we learn to empty out, feel those impulses, whether it's emotional eating, habitual dating, impulse shopping, all sorts of things that energetically make the hunger of unconsciousness more hungry. As we feel out and allow these impulses to detoxify, we actually become different versions of ourselves. The scary thing for the ego is that you start wanting different things, and part of you saying, I can't believe I don't want what I always desired, which is an identity crisis the ego goes through on the journey. What's really happening is that your ego is horrified that you no longer crave things you used to, and you've found a place of sufficiency, only crave the things that are good for you. You go through this transformation where you only crave things that are good for you, giving an identity crisis to the parts of you that have learned to be fed and nourished by less redeemable forces. Let's wake up out of deficiency and into wholeness. Step into a new dimension and out of the old paradigm. How many of your questions will still remain when they're not about what's wrong with me or what's wrong with them? What's wrong with me is a belief in deficiency. This is thinking in the wrong direction. So is what's wrong with them. Why are these things not showing up for me? The reason is because it's not time yet. Wanting something is a confirmation that it is going to happen. Those who want the most are least ready to receive it. The wanting needs to be buffed out and matured so that you can receive what it is that you desire. Instant manifestation robs you of the journey. We want these things because we think that when we have them, we will feel better, more money, a better partner, a bigger house, etc. These things we desire have no relation in reality. They are a creation in your own mind. They are also programmed and marketed into our mind through television, through movies, through, you get the drift, social media, all of it. What prevents you from manifesting instantly is the belief that they will make you feel better. This is the cosmic joke. If I had all that I desire, I'd feel no different. This is why the midlife crisis happens. If you have no desire for something, you will attract it to yourself faster. And that is true. When you are unconscious, there's always something wrong. Unconsciousness doesn't know how to show care without concern. When conscious, care replaces concern. You don't have to be concerned. Care comes from thoughtfulness. Thoughtfulness is a vibration of mindfulness. Concern is a vibration of fear. In a subtle way, we worry about other people so that we can be their rescuer, because secretly we don't know how to have purpose and value in other people's lives unless they are in need of being rescued. Politics is just deficiency and unworthiness being masked by an abuse of power. The whole point of life is for us to change and fall back into our own wholeness. It's okay to want what I want. It just has nothing to do with what I need. What I need has already been given. It is here right now. I'm capable of desiring it because it's not somewhere else needing to come closer. What I need is already within me. If I make friends with what's in me without falling into the fear of missing out, I will start to become my most mature self, dwelling in the dimension of wholeness, no longer living in a dying planet of deficiency. If I think having a desire or even attracting my desire feels amazing, I won't believe how outrageous it will be when I dare to set desire aside. Those who are most entrenched and attached to desire are those who are most willing to go to war with themselves and with other people. If you're too attached to your desire, you become territorial, prideful, righteous, and they will go to war over anything. Look at sports fans fighting. Look at the Black Friday sales in the past and things like that. People are run by their desires instead of being the source of their desire. When you put desire down, it changes the way you think. Most people before they wake up think that they spent their life having thoughts about a variety of things. What most people don't know prior to awakening consciousness, you mostly haven't actually thought about anything that you think you were thinking about. You were only thinking about those things and how it relates to you. For most of our lives, we were thinking about ourselves, imagining it's about other things. As soon as you set down desire, what happens is you don't always have to be in the center of attention for yourself or for others. When a moment doesn't have to be all about me, then you see there's beauty everywhere. Inspiration flows. Abundance is your natural state and not an award you get for good behavior. You realize how you've thought about yourself and your desires your entire life. When you spend your life thinking about you, then you make you the problem you have to fix. Let's end this. It doesn't mean you can't be the focus, but you don't have to be the focus. It doesn't always have to be about you. Life will masquerade other people with a lot more to say, and it causes you to listen. That's life trying to get you over yourself. When your life is only about you, is when your happiness is only in future pending moments, or when what you don't have magically appears and you're most willing to go to war with any amount of differences in other people because you're the unconscious product of your desires instead of being that which life is desired. The moment you become aware of the sensation or sound of your breath, you confirm that moment isn't about your desires. We have to understand why we are here, everybody. And I think that this year, 2025 into 2026, is really, again, like I've said in the past, the quickening, the awakening to this reality, this realization, and this understanding, and this higher level of consciousness that is not just all about me. It's not just all about you. The Age of Aquarius is community. It is about us, all of us together. And why are we here? To break free from these old paradigms, to break free from being on a prison planet. We are not to be controlled. We are not in control either, but we have to trust and connect to the source of all. I hope that you found something helpful out of this. I wanted to share. I'll continue to share more as I go through some of my old journals and notebooks, because I find this to be even helpful for myself. Sending you all so much love. Take care. Bye.